I don't like you right now, and I really don't like you right now, and I don't think you guys are a good couple. How was your hen do?
Oh my god. It was 4 days of like an absolute roller coaster. And you'd think that so it was me, my sister, and two of my friends, like one of my closest friends. Um and it was meant to be heavy. It wasn't like your traditional Hindu where we were like getting absolutely plastered every night. Um I made it very clear that I wanted to have like one heavy night, and I actually wanted to like have a break and just enjoy myself and like read by the pool and have a cocktail and all of that kind of stuff. So the first day we kind of just mooched around and looked around where we were staying, and I feel like it all went off the rails the day that we were like, we're going out tonight. Like we were drinking around the pool from like 11 a.m. I was like pissed before I even started getting ready. And then my sister and I were ordering drinks to our room whilst we were getting ready. And I went to Croatia. I went to Dubrovnik, but we were staying just outside Dubrovnik. And we had to get a taxi, and we 100% got swindled on the way into Dubrovnik. Like it was spenny, um, which was hilarious because we were looking at the Ubers and comparing the prices of the taxi that we got from the hotel, and it was like quadruple the price. And it was so funny because we couldn't like. My friend who ordered us the taxi was from the hotel. She was like, I'm so sorry. I should have just asked like how much it was. She was like, I just asked them to get us a taxi and didn't think that we didn't realize that they had their own like private service. So she was like, can you ring a local taxi? And the hotel just gave us one of theirs. Um, so that was like a whole experience itself. But the driver was dead funny. He was playing music and was very like, it's a Hindu. And obviously, I had a blow up doll of my boy who
Yeah,
we were just carrying around Dubrovnik, and that was like a
of
whole thing.
course.
We had a guy um give the blow up doll oral. It like everyone was taking the boy the inflatable boy from me and like dancing with it. It was so funny. And I'm still really ill. I've definitely got poorly whilst I was over there. Um so the day that we went out, we spent like all day by the beach, like drinking, listening to music. I was looking like a chili. I was so sunburned, like 100% should not have been drinking as much as I was. I was like very near heat stroke, sunstroke level. Like there was, you know, when you touches out like your skin when you like
And it's
sunburn,
hot.
and yeah, and then but like
No.
it's supposed to come back to like your color. So I was doing that, and like there was no like color, that it was just red. Like I was genuinely just red. And the most frustrating
What do you
part is
mean it's supposed to come back to your colour?
like when you like touch yourself and you're like burnt. I always feel
Yeah.
like it goes a little bit beige and then like your skin tone and then it goes back to red because it's like your blood circulation. I don't know. I'm not a freaking scientist, but like I was just like pure red, just pure red,
You were
and
spicy.
yeah, I was literally spicy. And it was so funny because the dress that I was wearing, you could like fully see like that girl is like burnt to a crisp. The day after, I think obviously I was hungover. The sun was freaking well hot. Um, we just slept for most of the day. Um, and then we went for like a really nice dinner. And it was so funny that the resort we were staying in, they had like golf buggies. because the hotel was like at the top of the like mountain hill sort of thing, and they had golf buggies that would take you to and from like the little village where all this the strip was with all the bars and restaurants and stuff. But the road was like a windy road, like in cartoons where it's like a proper like loop
Yeah.
de loop. We were doing what felt like 80 miles an hour on a little golf buggy, and every time this golf buggy turned, I was like, "Holy fucking shit, we're gonna flip!" I was like, "Oh my god, we're gonna die. We are gonna die." And then, so you can take it down, and then you could ring them past like 10 p.m. and then come and pick you up. And I think it was like the first night we were plastered from just having like cocktails, and the plan wasn't even to like get pissed, but we were pretty pissed. And we got the golf buggy, and he went to do like a 2-point turn, but the edge of like the road was just the sea. Like it just there was nothing barricading the edge into the sea. It just ended, and then it was like drop water. And I was sat at the back with my friend. I was like, "Oh my fucking god, it's in. We're going. We are drowning." And it was just so funny. I laughed. I spent 99% of the time having a laugh, and yeah, I think it's well deserved that I've got the flu or whatever illness I have at the minute, because I had a really good time. I just want it to go away now because I've been ill for what feels like a decade.
Yeah, but the main thing is he finished the book.
I managed to finish the book. Whoop, whoop. And let me tell you, I finished, because I don't think I told you this yet. So I finished the last hour and a half on the plane. The last 3 or 4 chapters, I was crying, like full on crying on the plane. And I was sat on the aisle. So I think I have a picture of myself as well, because I was like, I need to take a picture to send it to Jessica because it's freaking well funny. I was just sat there absolutely sobbing, and it wasn't even like, I mean, it was sad, but I don't even know what triggered it. Like I could not tell you what triggered the first tear. It was very much like, holy crap, action packed, and yeah, I just was so in it that I just cried.
It was the
We're not even
finale.
surprised.
It was the finale that I was waiting for. It made up for a lot of things in the book for me. I'm so happy. Like I thought it ended really well. I feel so much more at peace with like the experience that I've had reading this book now as a result, because genuinely going into this last set of chapters I was like, please let me enjoy it, because I don't want to have to sit down in this chair now and like yet again be moaning about the fact that I'm not enjoying reading this
Yeah.
book. Um
Yeah.
and also because I think as well, like I just think I got myself into a bit of a tizzy with,
Ooh, elaborate.
not with this, just like previous chapters. Like I think I just got really hung up on being pissed off at Xaden. And
Okay.
I just don't think that I I think I just let it affect the whole of the book for me. Um when really I think I just needed to come to terms with the fact that obviously they are gonna stay together. And I just got myself
Yeah.
into a situation where I was like, I don't like you right now. And I really don't like you right now. And
Mm.
I don't think you guys are a good couple. I'm not feeling it,
Is that
you know?
toxic toxicity?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you know,
Yeah.
I was also the thing that I think was the thing I think I was is so weird is I've read more toxic pairings and been fine with it. Like,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
and I think I it's just about the premise for me. I think the thing with Xaden and Violet is at no point was I feeling as though it's the kind of toxic relationship where you're just having a good time reading it and you don't really care. You're like, oh, that's sexy, that's attractive, great, like he's fit and like he can get away with murder, I don't care. Like you have books where you're okay with it because that's almost the
Yeah.
premise, so you're fine with it. And I think
Mm.
I was, because that wasn't here, I was almost like hypocritically more annoyed by the toxicity that was present than I would have been. Like if we were to review a dark
Yeah.
romance book after this, I
Mm.
might just be like, yeah, great, he's super hot, love it. That was, I don't know, that was really fun reading that scene. I probably wouldn't care. So I'm aware of it, but I just felt like
Mm.
the finale was really, really good. The squad was back together. The action was great. It all came together, and it was just like the first one as well, where it just went from like 0 to 100, and I was like, yes, I'm so here.
Yeah. I think, oh, like, don't get me wrong, 100% think the ending was great. I think the last like 10 chapters obviously were really good. It tends to be a theme though that the beginning and the end are great and the middle seems a little bit meh. But not meh as in like it's bad. It's meh because it's a lot of information that is clearly going to set you up for the future. Do you know what I mean? Like it's information
Yeah,
that we need to know. So I'm not obviously not going to skip the middle. I'm going to have to keep going because it's
yeah,
all important. But yeah, it picked up really quickly, which is obviously what we wanted. So I'm not complaining, but it did like it at the moment. Obviously, I felt like that towards the end with Fourth Wing. This one again. This I think Iron Flame was probably the worst for it in the sense of we had the bickering because we had the bickering between Xaden and Violet, and it just felt a little bit lull. Um, but I really enjoyed that ending. Clearly, if I was crying
yeah.
my eyes out, um, but it makes me more excited for Onyx Storm now because I feel like I was really worried about how this was gonna end and how it was gonna make us want to carry on. Because obviously, I feel like when you're reading a series that is already fully published, that's fine. The whole like you don't have to wait long. And I'm also very aware that once we catch up with Onyx Storm, we have to wait like 2 or 3 years until the next book comes out.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that when we get to it. Whereas with this, it ends so well. But I'm really grateful that we already have the next book and we don't have to wait that long to like go and find out like what. Because I have so many questions.
Yeah. Well, what a lot of the spoilers that I'd already seen, I thought were taking place in Onyx Storm, but actually have happened now. And so actually I'm feeling really optimistic that I'll go into Onyx Storm really not knowing anything. Um, so for example, we'll get into it, but what happens to Xaden at the end of this book? I'd seen that spoiler, but I thought it happened in Onyx Storm. Um, Jack and his condition. I had
Yeah.
seen a spoiler for that too, fairly recently,
Yeah.
and I was like,
Oh
okay,
no.
I know, I was like, okay,
That's the
great, but
problem. Yeah.
yeah, but again, I didn't know when it had happened,
Mm.
um, and also unfortunately, Lily, I had unfortunately seen a spoiler for that very recently, so
Yeah.
again, I think I'd expected that to happen in this book, but like the rest I didn't really know. And
Mm.
actually, I'm happy to say I'm pretty much up to date on that now, so I do get to go
Yeah.
into Onyx Storm, none the wiser as to what could happen next. And on that
Yeah.
note, shall we
Let's
do
get
the
into
news?
the news.
This is Don't Tell the Boys News, and here are today's headlines. Xaden and Violet fight and make up, agreeing to full disclosure. Violet realizes that the Venin are actually planning to attack Basgiath, and everyone leaves to defend it. They arrive to discover Jack has turned Venin. He kills Bade and sabotages the Wardstone before being captured. The Venin arrive and wage all-out war. The squad protect one another, but Sawyer loses a leg. Brennan mends the Wardstone but can't restart it. Cat defends Violet from Venin, and Andarna saves them both. Xaden agrees to buy Violet time to restart the Wardstone. Andarna confesses to being a 7th type of dragon and the key to creating fully functioning wards. Violet attempts to sacrifice herself to restart the Wardstone, but her mum prevents her. She sacrifices herself instead, winning the war for Basgiath. She finds Xaden, only to find that he turned Venin in desperation to survive. It's revealed that Violet's nightmare was Xaden's, and she experienced it via their bond. Xaden interrogates Jack, but Jack confirms there is no cure. The
You
end.
still had like 3 seconds left of that. You did well.
Yes.
Also, I feel like you've just explained one of the questions that I had about the whole vision with Xaden. Because that was one thing that I was like really confused about. But yeah, that's a good shout actually. That it was Xaden's dream and she experienced it through their bond. I hadn't
I
thought about
loved that twist. Loved it.
Yeah.
Because, I love being fooled.
Yeah.
Not always. I don't like being fooled when I'm like, no one could have worked that out. But I like it when you can see that all the pieces and the clues were there and it made sense and it's a really good mystery and everything just falls into place. And in that moment, I was like, oh, that is so good.
Yeah, like why didn't we think about that before?
Yeah, because we got that it was a preconception. We got that it was a premonition. That's the word I'm looking for. We knew that it wasn't just a dream, but it just didn't cross my mind at all that she might be like telepathically tuning into his nightmares. And of course, neither one of them knew that. Like by the end of the book, it's not even really apparent that Xaden is aware that Violet has experienced these dreams.
Yeah.
And it was just, I loved that. Like, kudos to Rebecca Yarros. That was awesome. I was like, oh, love it.
Yeah. I hadn't even thought about that, to be fair. I don't know. I'm so aloof when I read that I feel like there's definitely times where I need somebody to explain to me what I've just read.
I think
Because I'm so in it that I just like miss big important details like this.
I think aloof is like an attitude. Like if you're aloof, you're like almost above something.
That is not what I thought aloof meant.
Like, I'm so aloof when I read. Like literally I'm better than everyone.
No, that's definitely not what I thought aloof meant. Hold on, I'm gonna have to look it up. Aloof. Not friendly or forthcoming, cool and distant. Well, that's definitely not what I thought it was either. So
like I'm so distant when I'm reading. I'm just so mysterious, you know. Everyone wants to
yeah,
talk
like
to me, and I'm like, no, I'm reading actually.
he stayed aloof from the bickering, like conspicuously uninvolved. That's like what I mean. Like I'm reading, but I feel like I'm not digesting all the facts. Like obviously I'm digesting, but clearly not everything.
Yeah, I feel as though I kind of want to say engrossed.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
engrossed. You're
I'm
so
so engrossed.
engrossed in the book that you're not
Yeah.
really like stopping to think about it. You're just in the moment.
Yeah, exactly. Because this was an issue that I had with Akatar as well. Like, the riddle did not even. But I was like, that's fine. I'm going to find out what the answer is later on. Let's just keep reading. I'm not just going to sit here and start pondering on what this riddle actually is. But yeah. Yeah, I want to highlight your first point that you said in the news. Violet and Xaden saying no, that they're not going to hide anything from one another. I couldn't grasp, and again, maybe this is something that I missed, if he had told her really what the like level of what he's actually done. Do you know what I mean? Like does Violet know? Because I didn't think by the end of that conversation between Xaden and Jack, I was like, it doesn't sound like Violet knows what's going on.
What do you mean?
Of like, because he's like not part Venom, or well, we don't really know to
He is
what
Venin.
extent. Yeah. So
But she knows that,
the
though.
okay, I thought, yeah, that was something else that I've missed. Oh my god, you've just gone dead bright. Oh, it's okay. You're good. I think it was
What
your
is it?
beer. Yeah,
Is it?
like yeah, it focused on your beer for a quick minute. Um, yeah, because I was like, oh my god, is this gonna be another thing that he's hiding from Violet, like in the next book? Are we gonna have to go through all of this again? Um, but yeah, I am kind of glad that they finally like sorted it out
hmm
in the sense of
Me
like
too.
we're good.
Do you know what? Me
We've
too. I was so like, yeah, I got myself to the state, I think, where I was so irritated at Satan just repeatedly not giving Violet what she needed, and like
yeah,
every time they talked, it just felt like he didn't fully hear her, and
yeah,
almost would just tell her off for even having those feelings in the first place, and he just kept. I felt like he was just blowing her off, but I think
yeah,
but by the time we got to the stage of the book, it happened so many times that I was like,
mm,
I'm now annoyed to the point that I think you should break up. But actually,
yeah,
when they actually resolved it at the end, I realized that it's fine if she forgives him too, because as long as they got the thing fucking sorted. Like it
yeah.
just got to the point in my head where it's like, you're never gonna sort this. But now they've actually sorted it, I was like, great, good. I can now
That's
move on to.
okay. Yeah, no, 100%. I'm really sorry. I just had a big holy shit moment whilst you were talking about this. And I hadn't thought about this before, but we've just spoken about how Violet was in Xaden's dream. She was dream walking in his dream. That's a big power to have.
Ooh,
Because I don't think that would have been. Because if it was just a bond, we would have found out already.
really?
Because I think we would have found out by now. There would have been a hint of something. But for somebody to be able to see someone else's dream, you're dream walking.
Oh, I love that idea. Because I just kind of gone, well, they have a mental
Uh,
link anyway. They can
yeah.
speak to each other and in each other's minds anyway.
But
And
even
it
if
was I
they
just thought it was the
do,
fact that they were both asleep. So it was that
yeah,
their subconsciouses were both connected to one another in their sleep. And
yeah,
neither one of them was really capable of. Because I've often wondered, can you keep your shields up when you're asleep?
true. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Maybe
Because
that's the
yeah,
second
because
signet.
even that like the whole yes, they have a bond, but also you still have to have something to be able to dream walk to someone else's dream, even with that bond. So it's either we know now what Xaden's second signet is. So is that Violet's? Is that one of the dragons like doing? I don't
Maybe.
know.
I'm not sure I'm sold on it, but only because Xaden, when he goes down on her when she's on his throne, Xaden projects his mind into her at that point as well, and basically gives her like his
Yeah.
POV. So
Yeah, true.
it is possible,
Mm.
but I wouldn't rule it out because I do feel like we spent a lot of book one hypothesizing that Xaden was intrinsic, and then
Yeah.
almost kind of gaslit ourselves out of thinking it because we just couldn't get definitive evidence. So
Yeah, because there was we didn't have enough like evidence to back ourselves up, and I think
yeah,
obviously props to the writing, Rebecca. Um, yeah,
you sound so angry about it. Kudos,
yeah, because
Rebecca. Fuck you.
I feel like now that we know the information that we know, I would love to reread Fourth. I'm not going to, but I would love to reread Fourth Wing And even Iron Flame, to just go back and see at what moments, especially at the beginning, did Xaden at least know what Violet's intentions were. Because I think the parapet moment with the freaking boot, the like her not wanting to kill anybody when she was on the mat, and she obviously was poisoning everybody. Like all of these like little moments, obviously when she was hiding up the tree and his shadows basically was what was like hiding her. Like little things like that I would love to reread and be like, holy shit, that's Xaden. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it definitely makes a difference. But I'm glad that they've got their shit together.
Me too.
Now when it comes to what happened at the end and Xaden turning Venom, I did not expect that at all. Like I genuinely, I don't know about you, but I was shook to the core.
I obviously knew it happened at some point because I'd had that spoiled for me, but I didn't
Yeah,
expect it in that moment. So it was a surprise. I was like, "Oh,
yeah.
okay, we're here."
This is it.
Um,
Yeah.
I'm. I mean, I understand that this has um is going to have a knock-on effect in the story, and that there's a decent reason for
Oh,
doing this.
yeah.
But there was also a little part of me that was like, that was all for nothing. Like, you did it because you were desperate to like beat him. You thought you were going to die, and you thought Violet was going to die. Like, I understand why he did it, but it ended up being pointless because she got the wards up, and like, if he'd just chosen not to do it in that moment, I don't get me wrong, this
Yeah.
isn't a huge criticism. It's just something that
Mhm.
that's been like niggling at me for a bit, because I'm like, that was a waste. Like,
So
that happened.
100% I agree with you because in some ways, I know that we kind of just made up with Xaden, but I do feel like in some ways that was him once again not trusting Violet's ability to do what she's meant to do. Like to do the right thing, to actually get shit done. Because he if he had waited, or I know that like, and obviously I know that he wanted to save her because if he dies she dies, and the dragons are like, ooh, Ten's already said that if Violet dies he dies. And I feel like I just felt like Xaden made another decision that somehow affects Violet without her. And I know obviously they were at war. It's not like he could be like, by the way, I'm about to do this. He just didn't give her the benefit of the doubt then and there. Like I know that obviously he was struggling and blah blah blah. But that's kind of how I felt towards that situation. Because, like you said, if he had waited, she still managed to get the wards up, and it did feel a bit pointless. And it does worry me that we still have 3 books to get through because he's now Venom. So what the fuck is gonna happen? Like, if this happened like on the second to last book, I'd have been like, you know what? Yeah, fair. It was bound to happen. Something like this needed to happen. But it's so early on in their story that unless now, either in Onyx Storm or the last 2 books, you come up with a cure to save the whole kingdom, I'll still be like, what the fuck? What was the point?
I don't know. I don't think it was because he didn't have faith in her. I think it's because he sensed that she was. I think it was just pure desperation, and
Yeah.
like he had no moves left, and it's not like it's not. Zayden's not used to losing. Um,
Mm.
he didn't have any moves left. He was going to die. He sensed that she
Yeah.
was going to sacrifice herself. There was
Mm.
nothing. I think it was just a pure moment of like powerlessness and desperation. So I get what drove him to it.
Yeah.
And I think that in that moment, I totally get that he really felt he had no other opportunity. But in my mind, I can't even justify it as like, oh, he'd be dead right now if he hadn't done that. Because he wouldn't be dead.
No, exactly. That's what I
The choice
mean.
didn't save his life. The choice didn't
Yeah,
save Violet's life. It didn't save
exactly.
either of their dragons' lives.
Because
So,
his
and
objective. Go on, sorry.
no, it's not. I think I was going to say the same thing again, really, which is just, it feels like it's almost, I'm gutted because it was purposeless and it
Yeah.
didn't need to be this way.
Yeah, exactly. Because what I was gonna say was like his whole objective was to like stall and basically give her time. And I
Yeah.
think, and and I think this is why I'm like, no, you should have given her the benefit of the doubt because in my eyes, it really felt like he was trying to be the hero. I know that he didn't have another option, and I know it could be like a little bit of a controversial statement, but he was trying to save everybody. Like Xaden hasn't got to a point as a character where he can't be the hero. Do you know what I mean? Like he has to be the hero in the story. That's how I feel like at the moment. He's
Yeah,
the
he's got control
protector.
issues. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, for
And I
sure.
feel, and this is what I
You would.
mean. Like he should have at least let Violet or give Violet the chance to do what she was meant to be doing. Because if
But
he had
what she
waited,
was
like,
meant but what she was meant to be doing, her intention was to kill herself. Like, so I'm actually with him on this one because he's supposed to trust her
oh,
to do what she meant to do, which was kill herself. Like, why would he be okay with that? And also,
this is
then
like a
therefore
Romeo
killing
and
Tem.
Juliet situation.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
like, also then killing Tem, Scale, and Xaden too. Like, so I'm actually kind of
yeah,
with him on this. Like, I get why she was doing it too. Like, she felt like she had no options, and she was like,
mhm,
okay, well, it's all of us, or it's all of us and the rest of us Gaiath. So I get her choices, but obviously in his head,
yeah,
I wouldn't. If I was in his position, I wouldn't be trusting her to do it either. It's not a trust
mhm,
issue. It's just a, oh God, you're going to kill yourself, and I believe you'll do it too. I don't want that. I'm not
yeah.
going to just be okay with it and let you do it because then you'll be the hero.
Yeah, I don't know. That whole situation just like, it just, again, like, I want to obviously carry on and figure out what happens next and how Violet feels about the whole situation. But I was like, oh, here we go again. That's kind of how I felt about it. Like,
You're
not mad,
still
obviously, but I was still just kind of like, stop.
you're you're still kind of annoyed at Xaden.
Yeah, I am. Liking the episode? Let us know how we're doing in the comments below. But please, no spoilers. And don't forget, you can find us at don'ttell_the_boys on Instagram, TikTok, Threads, and YouTube. We're all over the place. Make sure to follow us to stay updated with your new book besties.
So we are just polar opposites to the way we were at the end of book one.
Oh my god, yeah. Yeah. I feel really irritated by that ending because so much happened. And like I feel like that war was just so crucial and so much happened. And obviously we didn't expect it. I didn't expect most of it to happen. And I think this is a good segue to sort of like mention obviously what happened with Violet and Lilith and Brennan in the pit of trying to get the wards up. Um yeah.
I bawled my eyes out. I'm not gonna lie. I just started crying. Obviously, I even knew that she was gonna die at some point, and I was like, this is that moment. So
Yeah.
but it was just like, it was gut wrenching because obviously I've become a bit of a low key fan of Lily S in this book series. I
Yeah.
love an anti hero, absolutely love an anti hero. They're my
Yeah.
favorite. I love them more than the hero. So I was just like, oh no, this is awful, but like it's also great.
Mm. Yeah, I felt really bad for like not bashing her, but for I felt bad for being mad at her for staying at Biscayeth and for basically like obviously lying for like I was still a little bit pissed off with her until from the moment that when we see her again at Biscayeth and she doesn't listen to Violet and Violet stands up for herself in front of her mum for the first time ever, I was like, this is a crucial moment. Something mad is about to happen between these two because Violet would never have like told her mum to like listen, literally screaming, listen to me. Um, and I wasn't not that like I was attached to Lilith, obviously. But I think it was a really nice and sad moment to see her character 100%. I did cry as well because I just felt like it was really lovely to see that actually at that point you kind of feel really bad because all she wanted was to protect her kids and the love that she had for her kids and as a parent I don't know what that's like because I don't have any kids. Does my dog count? Probably.
I think a
I'll
lot of
do anything
parents
for
would
my
say
pet.
no, but
But
as a cat owner, I say yes.
yeah, like you'd do anything for your family, and I feel like that was the perfect way to wrap her character up then and there. And yeah, and we actually got to see Sloane be put into like a pretty tricky position too.
So I'm giving Sloane a free pass on this one because I just don't think that she was really in control. I don't think that she had enough control over her powers at that point to really
Yeah.
make that decision. So I'm not
Mm.
really blaming her for how that happened.
Yeah.
Um, I think Lily basically used her to do it. Um,
Yeah, of course.
she basically tapped into the lack of control Sloane had over her powers in relation to her
Mhm.
emotions.
Yeah.
However, if I felt like Sloane had more control over her powers, I that would be a really contentious decision for me
Mm.
that would that I would be thinking about a lot because I don't know how I would have felt about Sloane doing that had she made the conscious decision and done it in front of Violet and Brennan in that moment and
Mm.
just made that decision for them.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. Like I said, I'm giving her a free pass, but at the same time, I was
Yeah.
like, that's sick. That's like, and I wouldn't even necessarily disagree with the choice because I think that she did it for the right reasons, not the wrong
Yeah, of
reasons.
course. Yeah.
However, it like should Violet forgive her for that? I don't know. I think
Mm.
she will because I think
Yeah.
Violet will see it the same way, which is that wasn't really Sloane's choice. But
Yeah.
if it had been,
Mm.
oh, I mean, Violet could hate Sloane there as much as she hated Xaden in the beginning of the book more when she thought that Xaden's
Yeah.
dad was responsible for Brennan's death. Like, only Sloane really was responsible for her mum's death. And that's
Yeah. I
something.
I don't know. I do think that obviously Violet sees that her mum's death was for the greater good. I think Mira didn't exactly react in the way that I expected her to.
I
Like I
remember
didn't
how
think
Mira
Mira was gonna
reacted.
be she was just kind of like
Cold.
throwing a yeah. For like not throwing a tantrum obviously for a freaking mum just died, but like if I'm not mistaken, she was obviously angry at the fact that Sloane was involved. Um, and
You
once
would be.
again, Brennan was just there.
I mean,
Like Brennan was just there. Like, yeah, fine.
I've had such a problem with Brennan in this book, and I know I've said it all before, but I still haven't resolved the fact that he seems to have, he's so pissed at his mum, not like, he accuses her of having basically thrown her children to the wolves and sacrificed them, when really we know that everything she did was to do the best she could for them. Like,
Yeah.
By what, supposedly forcing them into a war, therefore they're terrible parents, or even just being okay with them being in the army makes her terrible because it's like she's sacrificing them to a war. Are we gonna,
Mm.
like, my brain just went, a lot of people go into the army, and we're not
Yeah.
saying that their parents are terrible parents for accepting that decision and being okay with it. Like, that's,
Yeah.
I'm not sure. And
I
it
think it
just
was
felt
more
very
because,
petty.
oh yeah, 100%. I think Brennan in this book, or ever since we found out that he's been alive, and especially with the whole situation with his mom, has just been like super petty. And I feel like I'm looking forward to seeing how this develops, how Brennan's character develops, because I have theories. I don't particularly, and I think I mentioned it to you briefly. You're right.
Yeah, sorry, Lala's just like hyper fixated on something I can't see. And she does this sometimes, and this is why this is why people think that cats can see ghosts. I don't know what she's
Yeah,
seeing. Could be anything.
maybe it is a
Right,
ghost
carry on.
too. Um, yeah, like I think I have my theories with Brennan because Brennan's got a lot of time unaccounted for, and I feel like his backstory, and it's not a, oh Lala, it's not a
Did you hear that
personal
little
theory.
meow?
It's so cute. I didn't hear it. The microphone didn't pick it
Oh,
up.
I thought it might, but I guess not.
Yeah, so cute. Um, yeah, it's not a personal theory. It's something that I saw on Instagram, and it was actually a guy. I can't remember his username, but it was basically like I think the partner had already read Iron Flame and like Fourth Wing, the whole series, and her partner is or was reading Iron Flame Onyx Storm. That I think that's what he's up to, and he basically mentioned that the way that Naolin, that was
I've
the
seen
guy,
both Naolin
Brennan,
and Naolin. I don't know
it,
which way we're
how
supposed to pronounce it.
yeah, him. The
Yeah, that
way
one.
that he brought Brennan back. We know that Brennan was seriously hurt. We now know because of Jack and Xaden that you can become Venom that way
Yeah.
with people healing. And so, two things. So, he thinks that this guy on Instagram thinks that Brennan is Venom. And he has been
Brennan
obviously
or Naolin.
Brennan Brennan is Venom because
Okay.
Naolin like pulled the energy to obviously ran out of juice when trying to heal Brennan, and then basically ended up pulling the juice from the earth and giving it to Brennan, and then by I don't actually know the right word, but by association, Brennan became Venom. What a tongue twister. Um,
Brennan the Venom.
Brennan the Venom. So yeah, so that's one of the theories that I've seen that I was actually like, this totally makes sense. Because we've not really had anything else to prove otherwise.
Yeah.
But then, because of that, I got confused. And you might be able to help me with this. Naolin,
Yeah.
Violet's bestie,
Hmm.
that's been healing Jack.
Absolutely. Violet's BFF.
Yeah. How did Jack actually turn Venom? Did he just suck out the energy from the ground and then Naolin, that like Biscaya found him, and then Naolin has been trying to heal him from Venom back to normal human Jack? Or did Jack turn Venom after he came back to Biscaya? That's
So
where I was like, did I miss something important?
Violet says, Violet says that Jack was already Venin before she supposedly killed him. because of that moment on the mats when his eyes turned red and she felt like he was killing her before she did the bit with the orange.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense.
It's actually not
Oh
clear
God,
at
that's
the moment.
ages then, hasn't
Yeah,
it? Like that's a while back.
It's not clear at the moment when Jack turned Venin, only that he was Venin well prior to nearly dying, which also still begs the question in my mind, why were they trying so hard to heal him? Obviously, were they just trying to find a cure for, like, finding a cure? Like, that reason was that alone? But also, like, so he nearly died and they obviously recovered his body and found that he was still alive at that point, and then presumably discovered that he was Venin at that point. So arguably, the fact that he was Venin enabled him to survive, and he somehow got caught out for it when they found his body.
Yeah, because that whole thing was like mind-blowing when we kind of find out that Jack is Venin, and also that they can survive. Some of them can survive in the wards. Because now I don't trust anybody.
They can all survive in the wards. They just don't really have they don't really have a lot of power. Basically, they're mostly powerless. So, which is why their wyvern die, is my understanding. So they've already realised that there might be a big infiltration issue with Venin already on that side of the wards that they don't know about, which brings us back to that moment when the wards go down in book 1, and Liam and Xaden are both, where they're both at the outpost, when they're all at the outpost visiting. And Xaden goes, "We didn't do this. This isn't us," which meant there were already enemies within the walls of the keep already. Those were his words, because we were talking at that point like, oh, there's a third party in play. Like, we don't know who they are or what they're trying for. So I guess that's what that is.
Yeah. This is what I mean. I feel like I need to reread the books because I feel like these little details that I've missed, now knowing the information that I know, would be so crucial.
Before we move on, before we move away from Brennan, I just want to say again that the reason I'm still annoyed at him is because even though I think he's right, he's very right to dislike all the mad shit that Lily's done in favor of covering up this, like, what Navarro's been doing this whole time.
Yeah.
Even though he has a right to be annoyed at all of that, it still feels like his main issue with her is a very personal, petty one that is more to do with, like, her supposedly being responsible for his death, even though it didn't really happen. And he's hyper-focused on that and won't forgive her for that. Even though I would argue he's a hypocrite, because his dad died after he disappeared, and he seems to not really accept any guilt about that at all. He seems to feel that he doesn't even need to think about it. So it feels super hypocritical to me, which is why I'm pissed off at him. And that's why I said I feel like the punishment doesn't fit the crime of the way that he's treated her. So I do wonder whether or not now he needs to kind of maybe have a little think about how he's behaved.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
Do a bit of growth.
Yeah. It's all a bit wild really at the moment.
Yeah. But yes, I had questions about Jack.
Okay.
And Naolin. I'm going to try and draw in your thoughts about Brennan the Venin and Naolin into this.
Brennan the Venin. Okay.
So I could believe that Naolin is Venin and still alive if he drew from the earth to heal Brennan. I would think I wouldn't expect Brennan to this is too much rhyming. I wouldn't expect Brennan to necessarily be a Venin if that's the case. All his behaviour would be a little bit wild.
If they take the serum, they're okay. And obviously Brennan is a healer, so...
Yeah, but, like, why... So you think he's a Venin but still good?
Yeah.
Okay, because I was thinking, like, you were saying he's a Brennan and bad.
Good.
He's a Brennan.
Brennan.
I thought you were saying that you think that he's actually secretly a bad guy. And I was like, that just doesn't mesh. So if because in order to heal, so Naolin was a siphon, and in order to heal Brennan, if he was the one pulling that energy from the earth and channeling it into Brennan, he's a Venin for certain, Naolin.
Yeah.
But he supposedly died anyway because he burnt himself out. I'm one of those people who's like, unless I've seen a body, there's no proof they're dead. I'm
Yeah.
just never going to believe that.
Yeah.
However, because I thought I saw somebody say that they think that the sage is Naolin, which I think is hilarious.
I was
Um,
just about to say that.
I again, I don't think I've seen enough evidence to think this is the case, but if that's the case, I'm just trying to figure out. Hello.
I can just
Do you
see
want
her
me
little
to
ear.
move the book? No? You're good. Um she's getting restless and she wants attention, but you won't have to wait. Um if Nolan's been trying to heal Jack, what good does he think that's going to do? Because Jack effectively sucks energy.
Mm.
So
He's just feeding Jack.
he's just feeding him. If
Yeah,
anything, you
but
want to do the opposite. You want to like almost suck Jack completely dry of power. If anybody can cure someone of being a venin, it's a siphon.
so basically what we're saying is that Sloane could be the answer to all of this. But then
Yeah.
how would that affect Sloane? Because then where does she put that energy?
I don't know. Maybe siphons are kind of immune,
Oh, actually, that's a shout.
in which
It's
case
all a
Naolin
bit
wouldn't be one. Yeah.
grey. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's all a
it
bit
is.
grey. But I do like the theory that Naolin is the sage.
Kind of don't. I kind of just want them to be a sage. Like, can they just be a
Yeah.
one-off? I don't need the moment where we suddenly go, ooh, like,
It's all
and
like
like,
interlocked and
I don't
yeah,
need everything to be a twist. Let's just let this guy be a bad guy. And also, by the way, on the
yeah,
grounds of not having seen a body, the sage isn't dead either. I'm not being funny. Zayn, like, he said he
no,
like threw him off the edge or something. It's like
yeah,
he's dead now. Is he? If you haven't
no,
seen a body, he's not dead.
yeah, yeah, no, 100%. He's coming back.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. What else have you got?
Um, Andarna. We need to talk
She,
about Andarna.
were you surprised?
Uh, yeah, I was. Um, and also slightly annoyed that I didn't get to find out what kind of dragon she is. Because I in my brain I was going, was she a purple one? Like they all have colors. What is she? Um,
Yeah,
but then I remembered something which clearly you don't remember, so I have to remind you. You made a joke about her being a little chameleon
yeah. Well, this is
ages
what I was
ago.
gonna say. Yeah. So this is why. So the moment that we found out that words, wards, the wards didn't work, obviously because of the dragon fire, I was like, well, this is sus because on it, all the dragons are there. But by now, not that I can list all the dragons that we've met and all the different types of dragons, I was like, there must be another one. I didn't think it was Andarna. I just thought that she was like a special one. But the moment I caught on was the there is a bit where, first of all, Andarna kept saying to Violet, I will be where I'm needed. But Violet couldn't see her. Duh. That's because she's like camouflaged, like everywhere. And then there was a bit where she kind of like looks up. I don't know if I'm making this up, but Andarna is kind of like camouflaged, or Violet thinks she sees Andarna, but actually she's like, oh no, it's like a rock or it's the mountain or wherever it was. And I was like, yeah, because she's camouflaging. Like, how have you not noticed this yet? Is like, it is your dragon. Um, so then by that time, by when they're having that conversation, I was like, yeah, she's like a little chameleon. Like that is her power because she's got the same scales as Ten, and it's black. But then Violet describes her then that she's like losing that color, and because she was golden when they first met her, and then she goes black. But then she's got like a mirror-esque sort of scale. It was all there. We just didn't get the hint that she
Yeah,
was.
so she fully explains it though, but the thing is, all of them have a colour except
Yeah,
Andarna. And
yeah,
this is why I was like, what colour is she? And obviously,
yeah,
if the whole thing is she has no colour, that's fine. But that makes her the only type of dragon that can do that. And it's not her
mhm.
power, it's not an individual power, it's just a
No,
power of that species of dragon. The only reason that
yeah,
she ever shows up as black is because, as
mm,
she said, she really idolizes Ten, so that's what she wants
yeah,
to be most of the time, which is really cute.
yeah. It's
Um,
so cute.
yeah. So,
Yeah.
so what color is she though? What
I
color is
don't
she
think we
actually?
know. Yeah,
Like, I know
I
we
don't think
don't, but
we'll
like,
know.
are they gonna tell us? I want to know.
I hope so. I really envision her to have like a sort of silver mirror-esque type of scale.
I think she's silver because she was only gold because she was a feather tail. All feather tails are gold,
Yeah.
apparently. That's at least that's my understanding until I'm told otherwise.
Yeah. No, I thought that too. And then as they grow, they sort of start growing into like
Yeah.
their yeah. Um but I got really happy with Andarna because I feel like that was the moment we needed from her to really to give her purpose. Do you know what I mean? And not for her to just be like, oh, well, she's Violet's second dragon. Because now that we
Yeah.
know that she's basically a little chameleon, she'll be freaking useful if
Yeah.
she eventually can hold a rider. Because that is another thing that I've noticed. No one has told her yet that she can't be ridden.
Yeah.
We know
True.
that she's like exercising her wings and she can now like fly for up to 2 hours. But no one has told her that Violet won't be able to ride her.
She needs weight training.
Yeah. I
I'm
don't know though, because
serious.
I imagine like Violet like very small and petite and like not frail, but like
Yeah, but she can only fly for a few hours at a time. So, like,
yeah.
she needs weight training. She needs to have weights put on her to try and build up that extra endurance more so.
I really want to see a sort of like um in like so I grew up being really into like the Rocky films. And like a montage of them like training and like
Yeah.
sparring and stuff. I need a montage of Andarna just doing like little exercises to get herself ready to be like off Ten's little
Just
harness
needs,
and
even just like strapped to her legs, just weights strapped to her legs, because that's still more weight she has to carry on her back when she's flying. Like, she just needs to do
yeah,
that.
yeah. But again, it's so early on. We've still got however many books left.
Yeah.
We've got time for her to develop. And I really do hope that she does get to develop. Because at the moment, the one thing I'm not looking forward to is when she does find out that she can't hold a rider, how that's going to affect her.
Yeah.
Especially if it does appear during her teenage phase. Because she's a little bitch at the moment, in the best way possible.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to move on to character
Okay,
rankings?
this is our last character ranking for Iron Flame. So if you are watching this episode as an audio episode, definitely head over to YouTube or on Spotify, switch over to video so that you can see our character ranking. And I'm actually kind of sad that this is the last Iron Flame character rankings.
Yeah, this is going to be the final character rankings for the entire book as we see it at the end.
Yeah.
Um,
And sorry, I was just deleting whatever that was.
that's fine.
Um, everything is up to date. We've got our iconic 6, 7 people at the top, 6 people at the top. And just Xaden. Yeah. I feel like this is the important one. Big shake up.
Yeah,
Who and
we need a
should
big
we start
shake-up.
bottom to the top?
Yeah. Okay. Bottom to the top. Let's go.
Yeah. King Tari.
I mean, he can stay where he is.
Yeah.
Um, what
Jack.
about Jack? Where do we want to move Jack at this point?
I think Jack needs to be the lowest of the low, to be honest.
I
Mainly
still don't
because
want to. I still want him to be above Major Barish.
yeah, okay. That's fine. If you're allowing me to move him, that's fine.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I think he's up there now with Major Varish in terms of betrayal, what he's done, who he is as a person. Also, where the fuck is Daddy Dane?
Yeah, I know. I was going to say this. He literally just disappeared randomly partway
He
through the
went
book,
to
and then
an
we just never
outpost.
heard about him again.
Yeah.
I've been waiting for him and Dane to have a conversation, and they just haven't. So I'm going to have to hope that happens in Onyx Storm.
I wouldn't be surprised, obviously, that because he was really realistically trying to go for Lilith's job. So I wouldn't be surprised if he comes back as the
Ooh.
General Sorengale's replacement.
Ooh, General, not Dane, General Atos.
Yeah.
General Dane. General Daddy
General
Dane.
Daddy Dane. Yeah. Um I wouldn't be surprised if he came back as a general. But also I want to know like cuz obviously we know that the outposts also had to fight Venin. So what happened on these outposts? Like what the cuz obviously a lot of them got sent out to fight the 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 war that General Melgren saw. So where is Daddy Dane? That yeah.
Yeah.
Um
I
um
think I'm annoyed actually that we didn't hear more
oh,
from him. I think it's a, ugh.
sorry.
I think it's a
Yeah.
bit of a, I think it's a bit of a letdown because in the start I was like, this is the bad guy for the whole book. And
Yeah.
then he just ceased to exist partway through. But like I said, I'm just going
Mm.
to hold my breath and hope for some more on that later because I was really looking forward to just seeing what his reaction to Dane's supposed defection is. And so far, nothing.
Yeah. Daddy Dane reminds me very much of like Game of Thrones, Cersei Lannister. Like we get introduced to her and she's a bitch, but then she becomes like the villain for a lot of the show and book. I've never read the books, but for the show. And I feel like this this could be sort of where Daddy Dane is going as a character. Especially because of his relationship to Dane being his dad. Um, so I'm annoyed because it definitely feels like a loop, a gap, sorry, in the storyline. Um, but yeah, I don't know. It feels weird. It feels like it should have been not resolved, but I feel like something should have happened where we should have seen Daddy Dane at least at some point towards the end here, and we didn't, and it just feels like again, where the fuck is Daddy Dane?
Yeah. Okay. I'm happy with the
Um,
rest of that bottom row as it is.
yeah. Um, Oren,
I mean, we're not going to move him because he's dead.
no. So is Amber. So I think we should just
Yeah.
leave them. How do
Yeah.
you feel about General Melgren now?
I mean, I don't really feel any differently towards him. I feel like he's exactly as I expected. And he's obviously not a good guy, but he hasn't betrayed them yet. So I'm like, I'll leave
Yeah.
you where you are. You have neither come in above or below my expectations for you.
Yeah. I definitely feel like, I mean, I don't, this isn't me like trying to make a case to move him, but I was a little bit surprised with him. Like, he definitely let Xaden come in and just, you know, Xaden and Violet come in, do what they needed to do. Like, they came in with a plan, whereas I feel like General Melgren came in halfway through and was like, holy shit, what the fuck? And I was a little bit surprised at how well he took Xaden and Violet sort of like being the ones in charge of the whole thing,
Yeah, I
you
mean,
know?
he didn't have much of a choice, did he? But at the same time,
No,
that
but
doesn't necessarily stop somebody from being an idiot. So,
yeah, of course. So, yeah.
yeah.
I think now the most important one, I believe. How do you feel about Xaden?
Um, better, way better.
Yeah.
I'd put him back up into like one of the top 2 levels now that I'm over it.
Really?
Yeah, I'm over it. I'm now. I feel like they've done what I needed them to do, so they've sorted it.
Hmm.
So I can't just continue to be like pissed off about it. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I'm fine with it. Obviously, he might piss me off again, but I just
Yeah.
I we've been clear all the way through that he obviously loves Violet and will do anything for her,
Hmm.
except apparently let her look after herself properly. But I feel like they've had a really good constructive conversation. They finally got to the root of it and they have to move on to move on. So,
Yeah, I get that. Okay.
how about
So,
you? Do you like, don't let me sway
uh,
you.
no, because I like when you make your case, I see it, but then part of me is still like, oh my god, like I'm just a little bit frustrated with him, and I
Where
think
would
it
you
is
put
because
him?
so I think I'd put him at the top of me.
I would put him. Oh, do you know what? This is. Ah, he's going to be neck and neck with Dane, which is so
Mm,
funny.
yeah,
Um, I hate to say it, but I do still kind of like Bodhi and Garrick more than him at times. Um,
yeah, Poe did it every time.
Bo did he?
I'm happy to put him between Professor De Vera and Bo Diddy.
Then he's above Bo Diddy and Garrick.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then he's
Can we?
obviously above Dane.
I know I'm jumping ahead bit here, but can we bring Cam slash Arik down? Like he was in really strong at the beginning, and then again he's just one of those characters that just sort of blended into the
Yeah.
background by the end of the book.
Yeah, where are we putting him though?
Yeah, under Dane. Like, I'm happy to keep him in Rar. He's a good
Yeah.
character, great. But I need
Yeah.
a bit more from him if he's going to remain like a top character for me.
Yeah, because I'm 100% waiting for this showdown to happen. Because when Cam saw Arik, saw when Lilith, sorry, saw Cam Arik, she was like, "Holy shit, does your dad know you're here?"
Yeah.
Like, I thought that was
And then
pretty funny.
she was like, "Okay, I'm over it now. I don't give a shit."
Yeah, she was like, "Yeah, we've got a war to fight, so it's fine."
She was
Um,
like, "He can't do anything about it." Yeah, I actually don't care.
yeah, yeah, mood.
Amazing for that
Um,
line.
that was so
Can we
funny.
move Cat up too, please?
Yeah, 100%. Um, I would put her in Raw. I think
Yeah,
she she just did so good in the last 10 chapters.
she did so right by us in the last 10 chapters. I feel like
Yeah.
I could grow to love her provided that she doesn't start falling back into her old ways the moment it's no longer life and death anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. Um, I kind of want to where would you put Dane?
Dane's doing well for himself, I think. Um,
Yeah.
but I don't know that I'd necessarily move him up
No, I
above
think he's
anybody who's above him.
yeah, okay. I definitely think but I do think he's in a good space, a good place.
Yeah.
I kind of. Hmm, I want to move Sawyer up, mainly because he's lost his leg, and
He's a little lighter, so he floats.
yeah, he did so well, and yeah, I really do want to move him up. And I really like Jacinia in this whole situation. I loved reading, like, when Violet sort of tells her that Sawyer is, surgery or whatever.
Yeah.
And she just grabs a robe and runs off after him. I was like,
Like,
no, because I could really. She's like,
ah!
I thought it was so funny. I was like, oh, bless her.
Yeah.
I would like to, even if it is just above Sloane. Like, I just want to move her a little bit up.
Yeah, see, Sloane's another character that she's been pivotal in the book, but like in
Hmm.
terms of how much I love her, I feel like she has just sort of settled away into the background a little bit.
Yeah, but I would still like. I would move her maybe to the end of Rar. Because
Yeah.
I still really think she's like an absolute badass, and I want to see that character development from her. But I don't think she that deserves to go any lower.
Yeah.
However, another person that I do think needs to move up is Lily.
Yeah.
Lilith,
I love her.
absolute queen. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like when
Um.
characters die, they get a bit of a bump on our scoreboard, but yeah.
Yeah. But also, yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
okay with it though. I don't mind. I really, this is why I struggle with our rankings sometimes, because sometimes
Mm.
I'm like, is this a question of how much we like them, or is this a question of how good they are? Because I
Yeah.
genuinely think if we were going to rank characters for how much I enjoyed them being there, some of the
Mm.
bad guys would be so high up for me. I love a good bad guy.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
like they're not right now, but I think there have been
Hmm.
times when I would have been putting Jack like top tier because he's just
Yeah.
so like he really makes you just have feelings. Um, but
So
it's so
yeah.
it feels like it's not really about that, but like
Mm.
Lily S makes me have feelings, and I think she's so badass
Yeah.
and certainly very flawed, but she's a great
Oh God.
character. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. No, I agree. Who else? I think Mira deserves to be where she is. Like she was obviously helpful during the war, but not she's
yeah,
not
she's
done
fine.
anything that's like stood out.
I mean, how do we feel
Riddock,
about Brennan at the moment?
I'm still in the meh category. Like he did the right thing in terms of obviously eventually coming to help. So
Yeah,
if he was any lower, I would have moved him up to where he is now. But I think he's been consistent, which is annoying because so much of this has happened because he was dead. Do you know what I mean? Like he's been
yeah,
such a pivotal character, but he's given us nothing.
yeah. He's so pivotal and essential, but almost more so in his absence than his presence.
Yeah, exactly. Um,
How about Bade?
R.I.P. um,
Bade, the most adorable disaster of all. I feel like.
literally. I actually felt really bad for Beige,
Me
because
too.
obviously there's that the whole like dragons are don't answer to humans and stuff. And
Mm.
in this case, it was such a sad death.
She really
He
lost
just
her free
died.
will. Yeah,
Yeah. And then it kind of made me realize like what happens when humans are in control. Like somehow we as like humanity find ways of like just ruining things.
yeah.
Um yeah. Like we really need to be at the top of the food chain, don't we? Or at least like in this case, like in the book. Um
Petty shit. Absolutely petty shit.
yeah. I don't know. I wouldn't move Bade. at all, to be honest. Just sad that they died.
Just worth an honourable mention.
Yeah, R.I.P. Um, Scale as well. We've not really seen much from Scale, considering like it's literally the end of the book.
Yeah, she
Um,
can stay right bang in the middle of meh for me, I feel like.
yeah, we got the sort of a little sassy moment from Scale when Violet
Yeah.
was looking for Xaden, but even then, again, gave us nothing. It was kind of just like meh, you know, she's just there. Um. Oh, one that I definitely want to move, and you're gonna. I don't know how you feel about it. I kind of want to move Ten to the top, to like the top, because I really think he deserves it.
Ooh, why?
I just thought like he did so well. I mean, I know he's a dragon, right? And I know that his role is to literally like go to war with his rider and be there. But I
Yeah.
just thought he did so well. And like the the commentary between him and Violet during the whole when Violet was trying to save Sawyer, the faith that Violet has on Ten to literally catch her when she's falling. Like I just really like Ten as a character, and I think yeah, that's my reasoning. I just really liked him as a character. I really liked him at the end. Um, I I don't know. I just thought that maybe he deserves to be bumped up to the
I
scale.
mean, I love Ten and I love that his relationship with Violet is so equal and like it really is a true team relationship.
Yeah,
They are like
yeah,
they're not dragon and rider
mm,
like dragon in charge whatever. They are
yeah,
two beings that are
hmm,
truly a team and I love
yeah.
that. However, I can't put him above Liam. Like I can't.
No,
I'm waiting for the moment when somebody comes along where I'm like, do you know what? I will put you above Liam. I can't do that with Ten.
mm,
I just can't. I also, if anything, my case would be for Rhiannon to be below Liam.
interesting. Why?
I I mean, I loved
And
her
above
anyway.
Violet.
Yeah, I loved her anyway. But for me, the moment when Violet was stuck in her saddle and Rhiannon just appeared in front of
Yeah.
her like a fucking force of nature,
Okay.
just dropped
Yeah.
down like a absolute hero. Like I could see it, I could feel it. It was an awesome moment in the imaginary TV
Yeah.
show that will be coming. She just
Yeah.
dropped down like a little angel of death to come and
Hmm.
save the day and just take this Venin on the back of a fucking dragon.
Literally, I think Rhiannon is like their year's Xaden.
She's so good.
Yeah, she's like a complete badass. Nothing seems to phase her. She cares for her friends. She's so strong. She's so loyal. She's a great leader. And you know what? Yeah, I agree with you. I would move Rhiannon.
But
And
then
then Violet
10
and
and then
Ten are
Violet.
together. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Andarna. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to put 10 above Violet?
Uh, yeah, I do
Violet's done
actually.
great.
Oh,
I
oh,
just, like, she nearly sacrificed them all. And, like, I don't,
yeah.
get me wrong, I don't think it was necessarily a wrong decision, but I'm like, ooh,
Yeah, and I think
rude.
Andarna doesn't need to move either. Like she's already at the top anyway. I think
Yeah.
I'm really interested in seeing how her powers develop, first of all. Um and I just want her. I want more of her now. I want
Yeah.
more of a backstory. Because also, I don't think we mentioned it. She remember how it was like right on at the beginning at Freshin when Violet we find out that Violet had two dragons. We'd
Yeah.
spoken about how maybe there was a possibility of the second dragon choosing, or the dragons choosing Violet because of who she was, because they heard that she was this frail but also strong-minded like woman,
Yeah.
and
That
that
was
was
on you.
basically
I
what.
didn't. I didn't see that coming at all,
I couldn't
so that
remember
was on
who.
you.
Yeah. That's basically what Andarna said, that she knew, she sensed as a little egg that that was the person that she wanted to bond. And I was so mind blown that my little theory was like right. I was like, you know what? Yeah. Um. So yeah, I love Andarna. I think she's officially become like one of my favorites. Um.
So presumably, so they said that Andana's parents died like before she hatched. We now
Mhm.
know that she actually waited 650 years to
Yeah.
hatch. And the reason that presumably that Ten and Scale have been taking such good care of her up until now is because she's so special and literally the last one of her kind.
Yeah.
So it's really cool information to get that
Mhm.
these dragons are effectively sentient in the egg. Like,
Yeah.
she was aware in the egg and
Mhm.
she literally waited purposefully to hatch for such a long time. Like,
Yeah.
she must have already been aware of who she was and her identity in the last of her kind and like that burden that was
Mhm.
prior.
Yeah.
So when
Yeah.
she heard about Violet, she was like, right, this is it. This is the one that I want. Hatched out
Mhm.
and when probably might have been a bit annoyed when she showed up as a fucking little feathertail and 10 bonds Violet. She's like, rude. It's the whole reason I'm here. So I'm going to
Yeah.
bond her too. Fuck you.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely love that. That information of knowing how aware the dragons are when that they are at that like egg stage.
Yeah.
Um, just imagine like an egg yolk, just like being aware. Like I don't, not like a fully formed dragon, but just like an egg yolk floating
And just
inside
imagining
the egg.
a little fried egg with a little face, like. Mm.
Yeah. Um,
Are we
I
happy
think
with
that's
that?
it. Yeah, I think I'm happy. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know about you, but I'm really happy with that. And as a end of Iron Flame book 2.
That's it.
God, book 2.
Yeah, that is the
Let me.
final,
That is the final one. Right.
final. Okay. So, to round off the last episode of the season, I wanted to ask you if you had any predictions for the next book.
I think the next book's storyline, like basis, is obviously going to be about saving Xaden and figuring out who's Venin in the wards, fixing Ariesh's wards,
Aretia.
Areshia's wards. Um, hoping we find out what the fuck is Brennan.
What the fuck is Brennan?
Yeah, like what's going on there? I really hope we find out Violet's second signet.
Yeah.
I really want her to have a second signet. Like I'm just convinced there's definitely something there.
Yeah, I'm gonna die
Um,
on that hill. She's got to have a second power. What is it? Come on.
yeah, 100%. I also, in terms of like the gang, I really hope Sawyer, they find a way to get Sawyer back with the team and don't like sideline him just because he lost his leg. Do you know what I mean? Like I really
Like to
want him
find
to.
out what's the medical situation with that? Because we are led
Mhm.
to believe that we're in quite an old-fashioned, historic setting,
Yeah.
but in some ways we are, and in some ways we aren't. So, like, what's the prosthetic situation like? You know?
Yeah, like are they gonna be able to give him a fake leg?
Yeah.
And yeah, I want more from the gang as well. Like I want more from Sawyer. I want more from Riddock, Rhiannon, Imogen. Justinia. I need more from these guys because when they
I
are
actually
all
agree.
together, they are so good. When they're all together and they're interacting with one another, they are so good. And I think
Yeah.
especially after like the whole what's going on with Xaden and Violet, I think we kind of lost that team unity with all the other characters as well. They kind of just became
Yeah.
sidelines to that whole mess.
Can we
I
have?
want them.
Can we have? Can they have a night out?
Yeah, have a break, have a
I'd
rest.
love that. Can they just have a night out in the next book? I think I would enjoy
Yeah,
it. Everybody loves Riddock, and I feel like there are moments when I love him, but I don't. He's just all right for me most of the time. But I feel like if we were actually to get maybe like a proper full chapter where it's just them going on a night out and just being messes, I'd probably love him
yeah,
by the end.
yeah, yeah. I feel like we just need to see more of like a personal banter. I don't even want them like working together to try and like solve an issue. I want them to together unwinding. And I know that it might not be entertaining, but that's what I need.
Yeah,
Yeah.
agree. Any more predictions?
I don't know. I kind of want to know what happens now in terms of like the hierarchy at Biscayev. Because also they could only fix one of the wards. So they chose Biscayev, which
Yeah.
means they now have to figure out a way of protecting the whole realm and extending the wards in a way where it protects everybody from Biscayev. And this is where I think Daddy Dane might become an issue. And because I'm being honest, General Melgren is just gonna have to deal with the fact that if it wasn't for Xaden and Violet, they wouldn't be alive.
Yeah, he doesn't have to do shit though. I'm
No.
wondering whether it's not a prediction, but I'm wondering whether he will try and get rid of them in the next one too. Yeah.
Yeah. Love that. Have you got any?
So I've got a couple of varying stages of development.
Okay.
The first one is I think we're going to get a lot of revolts and uprisings in the next book because the truth is broken now.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to see that really mess with the power balance. I think that a lot of the next book is going to be about that power balance.
Mm-hmm.
Are we going to see a situation where the infighting really truly begins? This revolution's going to start shifting. Are we going to
Mm-hmm.
have revolts for the existing power structure? Is Melgren, are Melgren and Xaden really going to go head to head in the next book?
Yeah. And we can't
And
forget King Cowrie as well. Like he's the king. So
yeah,
at some point he's gonna have to be involved in all of this.
right. So if we're talking about, in that power vacuum we were talking about earlier, is this where it's going to start to matter? Like Cam and, his claim to the throne or not?
Yeah.
King Towery in his position, will he keep it? Will Melgren give up Basgiath to Xaden? Like, who's going to be in charge of the military school next year? I can
Oh
really see
yeah.
that power balance being an issue
Yeah.
potentially. So it's not, no, not so much a prediction, but I do think we're going to start seeing revolts and uprisings from the
Mm.
actual general population. That's my prediction, but it's part of this wider thing that I don't really know what's going to happen.
I think Brennan might be an option for to run the school, you know. Brennan, or I can't remember
Mm.
her name, but the lady that's like helping him.
Devera?
Um, yeah, I don't know, I can't remember.
Yeah.
I think it is Devera. Yeah,
Maybe, yeah.
because obviously they're basically running Biscayev 2.0 over there.
Yeah. But are they now? Or are they back at Basgiath altogether again? I don't know.
Well, yeah, I guess it all depends what they decide. Are they going to stay out of the wards,
Yeah.
or are they going to move again, move back?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's something I guess that we'll find out. Um,
Mm.
my second prediction, I think that maybe by the end of the next book, Xaden will have been partially lost to this addiction. And I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of the next book is about him struggling against that. And if by the end of the book they've been unsuccessful and he's somehow maybe temporarily left or is out of the picture or has been lost, and poor Violet is left to cry on Dane's shoulder.
Oh, the love triangle continues. Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised by that, but we'll see. Because I'm thinking about the fact we've got 5 books total and we're only 3 in. So,
Yeah.
and my final, not so much a prediction, but a consideration. If we entertain the idea that Naolin is this sage or is a Venin, that means that he potentially is still bonded to 10. And I don't know how all that works, but we already know from seeing Jack with Bade that in that instance, Jack was able to actually control Bade. And so maybe we may see some kind of, like, if that's the case, maybe there's going to be some kind of struggle for 10's autonomy as a result of that. Like,
Oh, I hadn't thought about that. Yeah.
yeah.
So good. Yeah.
Those are my kind of musings and predictions for Onyx Storm and beyond.
I love it. I'm so excited. Let's start reading now.
I need a break.
Ah, I just want to say, we finished season 2. Like,
Yeah.
season 2. If you've been watching, if you've been reading along with us, thank you very much. We really, really appreciate it. And we hope you'll come back for the next season.
I hope you enjoyed our reactions. If you'd already read it, we hope that you found our reactions to these books entertaining. And if you've been reading along with us, as I know some of you have, then I hope that you enjoyed being along for the ride. Maybe you can let us know what your theories are at this stage. If you don't know what happens next, um, maybe you could tell us your thoughts on our theories or some of the feelings we've had about characters in this book, maybe. But until then, we'll see you in season 3 for Onyx Storm.